Well, Cleveland stumbled out of the gate yet again, and they played catch up for most of the game, and they were down big at several points of the game. They were down by as many as 18. They got back into the game, but miscues down the stretch led to scoring opportunities for Toronto Raptors, and the Raptors were able to come away with a 105-99 victory and even the series up at 2 games apiece. What a difference 2 games have made in this series. And now we have a even Eastern Conference Finals, and now we go to a critical Game 5. Toronto has not won in Cleveland this year. They have not been a good road team in the postseason. I think they're only 2-6. But we shall see. They have to have some confidence now, due to the fact that Cleveland does not look like the invincible team that they did throughout most of this playoffs. Coming into Game 3 with a 10-0 record in the postseason. LeBron James had a good game. You can't blame LeBron for this one. Excuse me. We had 29 points, I think 9 rebounds, 6 assists. But one person who, and Kyrie had 26 points, I think, and 6 assists. But Kevin Love has been pretty much invisible in this series. That was masked in the first 2 blowout wins, but come on, Kevin Love. I mean, this is a guy I always felt was a bit overrated, even in his Minnesota days when he was putting up like 26 and 14 rebounds. What some people forget is that Minnesota led the NBA in pace back then and possessions. So I always felt that some of his numbers were inflated. And this is a guy who ESPN rates as a top 100 all-time player. Do you really think that the person who he's in front of, Sean Kemp, would be putting up numbers like this on a team like that? You think he'd be that invisible in a series like this? I remember when he was playing against our Bulls in '96, he was putting on a show with our front court. And I don't know. Anyway, I had to throw that shot in there. Toronto's backcourt of Lowry and DeRozan have really come alive in this series, and that's pretty much what has made the turnaround. They've struggled for a lot of this postseason, especially Lowry. DeRozan had 32 points, and Lowry had 35. So you got both of these guys putting up 30-plus points. Both of them shot excellent from the field. Lowry was 14 of 20. DeRozan 14 of 23. Lowry was 4-7 from three-point range. So you have both of these guys really playing well and firing on all cylinders. It's going to be tougher to beat Toronto. Then you got Biyombo, who's doing his best Kimmy Mutombo impression at 14 rebounds and 3 block shots. And now at this point, he deserves the right. He's earned the right, as Tyronn Lue said, to mimic Mutombo with the finger wave. Because he's bullying Cleveland's bigs like Tristan Thompson and Love are just being bullied by this guy. Together, if I'm not mistaken, Thompson and Love only had 2 more rebounds than Biyombo did by himself. And while I think Cleveland's still going to win this series, if somehow Cleveland drops Game 5, if they drop Game 5, or if they just drop this series in particular, I don't think it's going to happen, but if they drop this series, man, I'm going to have to seriously reevaluate LeBron James as a player. I've always had I've had my reservations about him, but they've always, throughout history, people have always said Wilt Chamberlain was a loser, right? But one thing that I could always say about Wilt, in my defense of Wilt, is that oftentimes he played on teams that were inferior to other teams. A lot of times he lost just because he was going against a better team. A lot of people, and one time Wilt said this too. He said, yeah, I did lose to the Boston Celtics a lot. but so did everybody else. But LeBron James, oftentimes he's lost, even though his teams were superior to these other teams. And instead of having the mentality where the onus is on me to take over and will my team to victory, or hell, I got to do it my damn self, I'll do it. He doesn't have that mentality. There's no sense of urgency a lot of times with LeBron. And if Cleveland loses this series, somehow loses to the Toronto Raptors, this is going to be another further stain on his legacy of calling him the greatest loser in NBA history. Because even though he's won 2 titles, he should have had more. He should have won more. I'm sorry, he should have won more. But this will be, of course, all forgiven if they do win Game 5 and ultimately the series. But tell me what you guys think.